Next up is the Los Angeles Chargers. The Los Angeles Chargers had the 13th pick overall, and with that pick, they took Northwestern offense tackle Rashawn Slater. This is 100%, in my opinion, arguably the best pick in the entire draft. The Chargers last season, they had no players who had a PFF grade higher than a 66 overall rating. Rashawn Slater was arguably the best offense tackle in the draft. Some people had Penei Sewell, but some top draft analysts had Slater as their number one offensive lineman. Slater did not play in the 2020 season, but in 2019 he had 355 pass blocking snaps. He only gave up 5 quarterback pressures and did not allow a single sack. The Chargers actually had a worse offensive line than the Cincinnati Bengals last season. This is easily the best pick of day one of the draft. You can make a case that this is the best selection in the entire NFL draft. Protecting your investment in Justin Herbert is a must. You cannot let Herbert get hurt like Joe Burrow did with Cincinnati last season. You literally cannot get any better than this if you're a Los Angeles Chargers fan, getting Rashawn Slater here at number 13 overall. In the first round, the Los Angeles Chargers got a massive steal in Rashawn Slater, getting him at 13th overall. And they get another massive steal here in the second round and getting Asante Samuel Jr., the cornerback from Florida State University, at the 47th pick overall. Asante Samuel Jr. was easily the best corner available. He was arguably the best player available as well. The Chargers could use some corner help. This is a fantastic pick. If you're the Chargers fan, you cannot be any happier with getting Slater in round 1 and Asante Samuel Jr. in round 2. You got all the teams who had first and second round picks. I don't think any team had a better round 1 and round 2 combo than the Los Angeles Chargers. This is a match made in heaven for both these players. This is an amazing pick here by the Chargers. And round 3, however, the getting steals in rounds 1 and 2, that did not happen in round 3. They took Tennessee wide receiver Josh Palmer. This pick to me was absolutely shocking. Damani Brown, the wide receiver from North Carolina, was available. Amon-Ra St. Brown, the wide receiver from USC, was available. Josh Palmer was arguably not a top 5 wide receiver at this pick here. This was a big reach. I definitely think there was some much, much better wide receivers available. But if you want your guy, go ahead and get him. And Herbert can use some weapons. I don't love this pick. I don't hate the pick. I kind of have mixed feelings about this. But it's still not a bad pickup here for the Chargers, continuing their pretty nice trend of getting some nice players here in the draft. They actually had 2 third-round picks, and with their second third-round pick, they took Georgia tight end Tre McKitty. I was not surprised at all that the Chargers took a tight end in the third round because I really thought it was going to happen. But I am surprised, however, who it was. I did not think Tre McKitty was going to be up this far on draft boards. I thought he was going to be a mid-fifth round pick, maybe early 6th round. I thought for sure Brevin Jordan, the tight end from Miami, Florida, was going to be this pick here at 97 overall. But due to his horrific pro day, he split a ton in the draft. Tre McKitty is a decent tight end, but I think this is a little bit early to take Tre McKitty. If you were to tell me maybe with the 118th pick, their 4th round pick, or their 5th round pick at 159, I would be really happy with that. But him here, I think that's a little bit too early to get Tre McKitty. In the 4th round, I took one of my favorite edge rushers in the draft, and Duke edge rusher Chris Rumph. I was really surprised Rumph went this early. Heading into the draft, you look at all the big board rankings, like from PFF and Pro Football Network and everything like that, WalterFootball.com. Chris Rumph, he was projected to be in the 6th and 7th round. I thought, he was going to maybe go in the mid-5th or early 6th. Get him here in the early 4th. I'm not against them taking Chris Rumph, but I am kind of against them taking Chris Rumph here this early. Like I said, they had pick 159. I definitely think Chris Rumph would have been there. And, like I said, he's one of my favorite edge rushers, but I do think it's a little bit too early for his talent here at 118. It's not a bad pickup, but I think it's a little bit of a reach here for the LA Chargers. In the 5th round, with a 159th pick overall, they took Nebraska offensive tackle Brenden Jaimes. I thought this was a nice pickup. They need some more offensive line help. He was one of the better offensive tackles available. And like I said, the Chargers' offensive line last season was arguably the worst in the entire NFL. They got an absolute steal on Rashawn Slater in round 1, getting Jaimes here in round 5. You could have a possible nice tackle duo in LA. Would not be surprised if Jaimes maybe sits a little bit. This might be more of a depth pick. But overall, that's a pretty solid draft pick here for the Los Angeles Chargers. In the 6th round, they took Iowa linebacker Nick Niemann. Last season, I took Kenneth Murray, the linebacker from Oklahoma, in the 1st round. He's not really lived up to expectations. I like the idea of them getting more depth here at linebacker in the later rounds. Around this picks here, you always try to get best player available instead of position needs. I think that's kind of what they did here, getting Niemann. With 185 overall, solid pickup for LA and gives them more depth at the linebacker position. They actually had 2 6th-round picks, and with their second 6th-round pick, they took Missouri running back Larry Rountree. I thought this was a decent pickup. Austin Eckler had some injuries last season. They have some decent backups behind him, but I think getting a running back here in the later rounds was not a bad idea. But I would absolutely love to see the Chargers get Darian Hawkins, their running back from Louisville here. It's not a bad pickup at all. I think it's decent. It's a nice pickup for the Chargers to give them more depth at running back. Rountree was one of the better running backs here available, and they could use a running back with Austin Eckler's injuries this past season, so I do not think this is a bad pick at all here for the LA Chargers at 198. They had 1 7th-round pick, and that happened to be their last pick of the draft, and then took Georgia safety Mark Webb. I thought this was a nice pickup here, getting more depth at safety. Mark Webb was one of the best safeties available here, and you have Brenden Jaimes, one of the top safeties in the entire NFL, but he struggled to stay on the field. I like the depth pickup here for the Chargers. He was one of the best safeties available. He was one of the better players in the secondary available. This was a nice pickup here for the Chargers, getting more depth at safety, especially because Brenden Jaimes has just been unable to stay on the field the past few seasons. Overall, I ended up giving the Los Angeles Chargers a draft grade of a B+. Rashawn Slater in round 1 and Asante Samuel Jr. in round 2. You literally could not get better than that. But there were some other picks in the mid rounds I was not really too fond of. They weren't horrible picks. They weren't great picks. I was kind of mad about, especially the Josh Palmer pick at 77 overall. But I thought the Chargers had a great draft. And with this draft, I would not be shocked one bit of the LA Chargers were in playoff contention or even made the playoffs this upcoming season in the NFL.